At least 23 villages have been displaced in Benue and Nasarawa states in the clashes between herdsmen and farmers. These crises have resulted in many people losing their livelihood and are now refugees in their own country. Similar clashes have been recorded in various parts of the country, resulting in loss of lives and properties. And joining us to discuss how we could possibly live together in peace and harmony is Mr. Abimbola Ajinibi, a social commentator. He joins us from Cambridge in the United States. I want to thank you so much indeed for joining us on the news at 10. What do you think is the cause of communal clashes between communities in Nigeria? If you can hear me, I was just asking you, what do you think is the cause of communal clashes in Nigeria?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go on, please. I can hear you loud and clear. Could you just go on? I'm just asking you what you think is the cause of communal clashes in Nigeria.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Unfortunately, we cannot establish a clear communication line with our guest there talking to us from Cambridge in the United States, Mr. Abimbola Ajinibi. We'll try to establish that connection. As soon as we do, we can have him back here on the news at 10. Now, residents of Sabiri village in Abuja have appealed to the federal government to address the basic needs of its people for all-round development in the federal capital territory. This request is coming from some parents there who lost 20 children to the cold hands of death 2 weeks ago in what they described as inexplicable circumstances. The children died of common headache and stomach pain, a situation that could have been avoided if the community was provided with medical facilities. On more stories now, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has raised an alarm over what it calls the proliferation of fake and adulterated wines across the country. Well, officials of the agency carried out raids of some of the wine shops and markets in Benin City, the Edo State capital, in a renewed determination by NAFDAC to rid the markets of fake and adulterated products.
Of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, on a mission to raid wine shops with fake, adulterated or expired products in Benin City, the Edo State capital. The action starts at these wine shops along Upper Sokomba Road. A test is conducted on the different brands of wine using a simple handheld electronic device.
It will be green light. You can see mark. If it is genuine, it will be green light, not red light.
Done with that area. The next port of call is Mission Road. The operation here encounters some initial resistance.
It's not cool down. How will they say that it's running? I don't even know where it's happening.
At this complex, tests on some wine brands failed to meet standard.
You can see it's red light.
The affected products were confiscated for investigation. Senior NAFDAC officials who led the raid speak on their findings at the end of the exercise.
We do the work as we get report of surveillance. So the report of surveillance we got is on wine. That's why we are doing wine for now. You can see the volume of what we have recovered today. If this goes into circulation and people consume it, only God can tell the health hazard it can cause to the people.
What we are doing is going on in Edo South and Edo North, specifically in Hauchi. The report we had, from that scene is that tramadol, fake tramadol, and falsica are being sold in that particular facility. The issue is so serious, because of the level of adulteration that the culprit was arrested.
The chairman of the Edo State Task Force on Counterfeit Drugs and Unwholesome Processed Foods, who also took part in the exercise, has this to say about the discoveries made during the raid.
If we go and find that cases of kidney disease are actually on the increase, and this can be to introduction of these fake drugs. First thing is that people should learn to buy their products from those that they trust.
In all, it was another eventful exercise in NAFDAC's quest to rid Nigerian shops of fake and adulterated foods and drinks.
Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano is set to commission the first shopping mall in Onitsha. After almost 10 months of the job, the contractor has assured Governor Obiano that the shopping mall will be ready for commissioning by the proposed date of April 14. The aim of the mall is to reshape the business architecture of the state and limit the number of Anambra residents traveling to other states to do their shopping.
This was July 2015, when massive construction had just begun on the Onitsha shopping mall. In keeping with the promise of completing projects inherited from his predecessor, Governor Willie Obiano ensured that the project met the 10-month deadline promised by the contractor. The mall has now assumed a new shape, and Governor Obiano came calling again to see the completed project, promising that the edifice will be commissioned in a matter of weeks.
I've gone round and I'm happy about what I'm seeing here, and I can't wait for this to open. I'll be one of the very first guys that will pick up some pair of jeans from here when it starts. It opens and changes the shopping architecture of Anambra. You know, we are very, we are known for buying and selling, and this is doing buying and selling in the modern format. You must realize that most of Indian Anambra go to Enugu every weekend to shop right in Enugu to buy. So I believe that the traffic will move down to this place.
For those in charge of the project, shoppers will experience a conducive environment and get to buy affordable and genuine goods.
It's a lifestyle changer. It's a new way of living. You don't need to go and struggle. You don't need to go and start wasting your time looking for one thing or the other. It's a one-stop shop. You come here, you get whatever you want, good quality, good price, in a very, very comfortable environment.
The Onitsha Mall is expected to bring a whole new shopping experience to the people of Anambra State as residents look forward to a more organized form of buying and selling.
At least 23 villages have been displaced in Benue State and Nasarawa State in the clashes between herdsmen and farmers. This crisis has resulted in many people losing their livelihood and are now refugees in their own country. Let's now go back to the United States of America, in Cambridge to be precise, where our guest, Mr. Abimbola Ajinibi, a social commentator, joins us. Let's start by asking you, what do you think is the cause of communal clashes between communities in Nigeria?
Well, the question is, why can't we live in peace? Why can't we live in peace? And I think, you know, the conflict we keep, you know, having in the recent time over and over. When you look at the East, there's a conflict in the Southeast. The K2-My2 crisis is there, and the Agatu, and in the North. And basically, there's a disconnect between the politicians and the people. And basically, this has led to lack of trust. And while seeking for power, people try to impose their power over other people. And I mean, the outcome is what we are seeing.
Now, before now, different ethnic groups, you will agree, and communities live in harmony, and some, as a matter of fact, go the extra mile, having intermarriages amongst themselves. But now, why are we not tolerating each other any longer? Is there a major problem?
Well, I think basically we, as a result of the cultural, political and religious differences, people have decided to take law into their hands, trying to impose their belief on other people. And as a people, over time, as a result of, you know, level of poverty, lack of adequate communication, particularly by the government agency. I haven't seen National Orientation Agency playing any role, and this is ridiculous.
So then, what can we do as individuals and indeed communities and as a nation, matter of fact, to bring about this kind of enduring peace in our communities, to ensure a peaceful coexistence amongst our people?
Okay, I think the religious body, they've got a very big role to play. We need to educate our people that when communicating with others, we need to seek, we need to avoid ordering, moralizing, threatening, and trying to impose your belief on other people. I mean, the NOA should, National Orientation Agency, they should have a sort of program to educate people, to let people know why you should respect, the belief, the culture, the political affiliation, and the religious belief of other people. This is very, very important. And then as a people, we really need to learn the skill of negotiation, because in conflict resolution, basically, if conflicts are not well managed, the results are so disastrous. And then when communicating, we must learn to respect the belief of other people. And I also think people have lost confidence in the system. Okay, people believe that they cannot get justice when they go through the judicial system. So we've seen people taking law into their hand, jungle justice, and all what's not.
I want to thank you so much indeed, Mr. Abimbola Ajinibi, a social commentator speaking to us from Cambridge in the US. Many thanks indeed for your time. Time now to switch gears as we bring in business news on the news at 10 with Anne Omaodo.
Hello, and time to talk business. Lenders in the financial industry have been advised to extend the central bank's 220 billion naira MSME fund to the services and education sectors. This is coming from the chief executive of Poise Nigeria, Mrs. Mavi Isibo. Well, she says that the fund should be disbursed beyond the manufacturing sector and well extended to women in business.
If there are specialized funds for women, then I think more women should be given such funds, should have access to such loans instead of us struggling so much, really struggling to get, to do anything. For the past 2 years, personally, I've been going to BOI. I've been asking, BOI to help me to access the funds that I understand have been released for women, that are specialized for women. They say to me it's only for industry and manufacturing. What about service? What about education? Where I function, and where I play big.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has announced plans by the federal government to raise 1.07 trillion naira worth of treasury bills for the second quarter of the year. According to the regulator, 303.77 billion naira will be issued in the 91-day bill. 169.98 billion will be issued in the 182-day bill, while 599.63 billion naira will be issued in the one-year bill between March the 17th and June the 2nd. For the first quarter, a total of 1.22 trillion naira was raised from treasury bill sale. On Monday, the federal government issued 160 billion naira worth of 213-day treasury bills at an open market operations auction at 7.75%. Meanwhile, the interbank market is expected to take a cue from the Treasury bill auction as traders anticipate a rise in lending rates next week. They believe this, in addition to the bond auctions by the Debt Management Office on Wednesday, may drain liquidity from the banking system. The overnight lending rate rose to an average of 5.5% yesterday, and that's up from 3.5% it was last week. The central bank also directed commercial lenders on Tuesday to pay for their dollar purchases 48 hours in advance of its Thursday's intervention in the official interbank forex market. This further drained cash from the system and led to a hike in the cost of borrowing among the banks. The total commercial lenders' credit balance with the central bank stood at 242 billion naira as at Thursday, down from 439 billion naira last week. 1.11 billion shares valued at 7.44 billion naira were exchanged by investors in 15,562 deals on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange last week. Now, the all-share index climbed 0.65% to close the week session at 25,988.40. While market capitalization gained by the same percentage to close at 8.94 trillion naira. The performance was majorly driven by investors taking positions ahead of more companies' full year 2015 earnings. Market breadth remained positive with 39 gainers against 21 losers. Percentage-wise, Tiger Brand, Owando and Honeywell were the top 3 gainers for the week. On the flip side, Better Glass, AG Leventis and Caviton got the cold shoulder from investors. And to company news now, Diamond Bank PLC is forecasting lower earnings for the full year 2015. In a statement to the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the lender attributes this to a fall in the country's macroeconomic conditions, while the bank also says this has led to a higher than expected impairment charges on loans made to energy and commercial business sectors. Diamond Bank is, however, optimistic that 2016 will be a better year despite the tough operating environment for the industry. And crude oil analysts expect global oil prices will remain low in the short term despite a rally this week. According to the Secretary General of the World Energy Council, Pt.3, though Brent's crude remained and climbed back to $40 a barrel this week, the gains are short-lived as the global supply glut continues to outweigh demand. He predicts that oil prices will range from $40 to $60 a barrel for the rest of this year. Well, that's a wrap on business news for tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm N1.07Bn. Back to you, Gimba.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's Flamingos trashed South Africa 6-0 in the first leg of the qualifiers for FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, billed for Jordan. That's on Sports News. Stay with us.